from this workshop we can open another door into the world of science, that a schizophrenic is us, not them, because we don't understand the process of the creation. Schizophrenic is one of the researches I've done more than anything else. It goes back with me to 1980-81. So when I think and I talk about the schizophrenic, I do not talk as a point of view of the present knowledge and medical applications of the schizophrenic and what they do with it. The way schizophrenic is handled is totally wrong. A person with a schizophrenic, we have to understand what is a schizophrenic. Man has not understood his own structure. And because of that, what he doesn't understand, he blames others for. And a schizophrenic is one of them. We are very much, as human beings, a matter-based people. We always, if we see it, we believe it. And it's the same with the Keshe Foundation. They say, oh, when you show it, we believe you. Otherwise, you're a fake. This is the same situation with the schizophrenic. In the process of the birth, we see different things. One of the initial things in the process of birth is if you're going to be a single, or you're going to twin, or triplicate, or 4 or 5 of us in the womb of the mother. Then it comes the choice of the sexuality, man or female or male. Then it comes the birth, and at the point of birth, if one is born, we say, okay, it's born, it's a boy or it's a girl. If it's the two of them, we have two physical things in our hands. So there are twins or there are triplicates. One is boy, one is girl. And in some cases, we have what we call Siamese twins, where it could be one boy, one girl, or two girls, or two boys, having one body with two heads. We know the twins, which are now, that are old girls now, they're in their 30s, 40s, I think. And or we see them connected in half body with two heads, with one heart or whatever. And we are used to physicality seeing. The point which the world of science have not understood is the next step in the world of creation. One body, what? Two brains operating within the structure of the brain. In fact, the schizophrenic is twinity, twin, two individuals using one brain and one body. This is why when the doctors measure electric currents in the brain of the schizophrenic, or they do MRI, they say when he's in the schizophrenic, different part of the brain works, or different things, they see those different locations moving. And they try to give chemicals to subside it. These doctors never understood that this is a working of another person, another entity in the same structure of the body. Because they can't see it physically, they consider it as an illness. So, in fact, schizophrenic is not a disease of a person, it's the lack of understanding of the observer, of the reality of the situation. So, in fact, with the schizophrenic, you have a Siamese twin inside using one body and two parts of the brain. The whole structure of the behavior of schizophrenic and their violence and or their talking to themselves, this is the exact understanding the process of the structure of if you have twins or you have two people. At the beginning of birth, the one who has born first, like when you're twins, you have one who comes out and it's called the oldest, and he always plays the oldest, and the youngest one plays the young one, the little one, even though there's a few minutes separation between them. In the schizophrenic, it's the same situation. The one who we see first at birth, that becomes the character we know. The second character lives within as a subordinate. Sometimes it shows itself, but we don't see it. So when it comes to puberty and the growth and up to age of peer before puberty, there is no peer section. So even the psychologists have done the studies. Children are not aware of color, they are not aware of sex, they are not aware of sex, who's boy or a girl. They know what it is. They don't even understand who's black and white. When you become into the puberty, hierarchy comes into position. Who's who and what is the position. And this is the time that the second character wants to be known as well. Now I exist. So you start seeing a behavior like a schizophrenic, talking to themselves. They are not talking to themselves. They are talking to the other half who shares the same body. If you've seen Siamese twin with two heads, they talk to each other, they fight each other. Go on the internet, look at their videos. They have one body and they share the body. There are two girls, they share, one likes a short and fat man and one likes a blonde and blue eyes and very thin. And they've come to share their body. Watch the video, there's 2 or 3 of them on the internet. I've been following this for years because they're all connected. So the guy who is a schizophrenic, you say, is talking to himself. He's not talking to himself. He's talking to the twin. It's us which is not aware of the second person that calls him he's crazy. Craziness belongs to us, not to them. If you gain the trust of the schizophrenic and allow him to introduce the second character to you, he will share the jokes, and you allow the second person, they have a different voice. They have different taste. They have different understanding of life. One, like twins, as you see, twins born together, one likes rugby and the other one hates rugby and he only plays chess. It's the same characteristics. They share a body, but their interest is totally different. So you'll be amazed. In my studies, I've seen that even the sight division is shared. One uses one eye and then one uses another part of the eye, or they share the vision distraction, which means one is watching, let's say, somebody in the bus sitting down and picking their nose, and the other one is rubbing the other one's pocket or tickling the other one. And one is watching the one who's picking his nose, and the other one is watching the one who's picking. So he says, come and have a look, the guy's picking his nose, look how he's doing it. So they look and they laugh, and we say the guy's crazy. In fact, it's a communication between two people. Doctors haven't understood this, and they use chemicals to subside to kill another character.
With this,
and we've seen the process of why a schizophrenic end up doing in mental hospitals, end up committing crime, because people don't understand the existence of the second, third, or the fourth character in the body. So twins is not a character, it's reality. So they laugh, they share jokes with each other. They're each other's partners. That's why schizophrenics become secluded people. First of all, it's like in the society we don't accept gays or lesbians, and they become clusters to themselves. The same thing happened with the schizophrenic. People don't understand it. Now there are two twins, they have near enough, they share the body, so they share their interests and they find common things to do. They fall out with each other, they have argument with each other, where one wants to eat something, the other one doesn't want to eat. They become very selective in eating because they eat what the digestion which they share can accept, both of them. One doesn't like sweet, one doesn't like sour. So they try to accommodate that they're both happy with it. And you see more and more in the older age, selectiveness become part of their life. And one of the characteristics of a schizophrenic is, you see them nowadays, they consume huge amount of sugar and cola because brain needs a lot of energy to run two body. It's like two people running a marathon. You drink like two people. So the brain energy consumption goes high because now there are two people using energy to give orders. But in their process, they have found out who is going to be the boss of the body for when and what. If they come to an arrangement and the people around understand, then you find you have beautiful, gorgeous characters with a lot of potentials. We see schizophrenics committing crimes. The reason being can be fully explained. The one who is in charge or has been known to us, let's say John, we know John, and John, this is what John has done from childhood. We have never seen Susan, who's the twin again, but it's got a girl's behavior part of the brain. But they share a body of a boy. So Susan wants to do something, but John doesn't want to do. Susan wants to be loved by the father and the mother the way they love John. And the parents are used to John, not Susan. After puberty, that's why we see a lot of problem in teenage years and in after 18, 20, 25, problems with the schizophrenic. Because each one wants to run his sexuality in regarding what they like, friendship, the same. And the one who charges body, who's always been in the front, we know as John, will not allow it because he's taken more or less over the charge of the body and he has control. But the second character, like it, and the second child in the house wants to be loved the same, looked after the same. So what does he do? When John is not in control, Susie takes over. And he wants to sell to the mom, I'm here, I exist too. But the parents don't see that because they see one body. Susan has no meaning to it. So what does Susan do? We see it historically. Schizophrenic attack their parents, the sisters, the brothers. They kill them, they maim them. Because they want, is like getting anger that I want to be recognized too. And this doesn't happen, so they attack the person. Why don't you accept me? I'm the same. And that's why we see attacks, fierce attacks on the immediate family and carers by the schizophrenic. Because nobody respected Susan. Susan now shows her behavior with the tantrum, which usually ends up with the death of the father, mother, or brother, or critical damages. And then when John takes over the body, realizes what's happened, and in his character, he's a gentle guy, he always been loved and cared by the parents, he sees the damage, what does he do? He wants to end this mayhem, that this thing doesn't repeat itself. Then we see a schizophrenic, a large number of them, after doing such a crime, they commit suicide. They kill themselves. Because us, as sick people, never realize the perfection of God in humanity. We have two people. If you see a schizophrenic and become friend and tell them, okay, introduce me to Susan, and when you're talking to them, you ask, who's talking? Is it John or is it Susan? Then you find out you have the best friends amongst you. There is no need for all these high chemicals to suppress the brain activities and make them numb. All you do, you numb the physicality, not the organization and operation of the brain. So schizophrenic is not a disease, it's the lack of the knowledge of the observer. And as they say, one of the most famous schizophrenics works within the White House of the United States with 8-9 characters. He's in his 90s. Because people appreciate the knowledge they have. They become specialized in the things they do. I have done tests. You can give a newspaper to a schizophrenic with 2 characters, and in talking to them, you know one likes sport and one likes finance. And you give them the newspaper and you ask John, who likes finance, what do you think about it? He tells you everything which is about finance on that newspaper. You ask Susan about the sports, she loves the sports, she tells you everything. If you listen to them, even the voice is different. Susan tries to speak more with the voice of a female. John speaks with a man. They say, oh, some of the schizophrenics are gay. But in fact, the ones who are not called gay, is the ones usually with a twin, one male, one female, because the female wants to have the same sensation that John has. I have studied the schizophrenic in detail. The guys, those people who are thousands of them kept in hospitals and kept on the medical condition of sedation of body, you doctors sit and ask, okay, we made a mistake. We want to learn something new. Who is who, and explain yourself. Maybe we have to make a placard, not marking, but celebrating the life of two people. The way we see two twins dressed up the same and we say they are twins, maybe we have to put a placard or something on these people, or dress them in a way that it says they are twins. Maybe half boys, half girl clothing, but not as a clown, but in a way that they're identified. We have a gorgeous character between us. Then we find out that schizophrenic is not a disease. A schizophrenic is a lack of understanding of the man who doesn't understand the creation. So let's see, in Keshe Foundation, in our medicals, we accept all the schizophrenic you can offer us. We open our doors, we appreciate and respect people who have brothers, sisters, children who be diagnosed as a schizophrenic. Bring them to us and we give you back the most gorgeous characters without medication. Just by understanding and respecting the creation. Understanding that is our lack of knowledge, not an illness. This is exactly the same as I always go. They hung and they killed the guy who said the earth was round and it was in the center of the universe. This is the same ignorance. We have not understood because we wait to see the physicality. Now that we have opened the space, these kind of characters, these kind of mental and physical interaction will be very normal. What are we going to say? Half of the, the creation in the universe is a schizophrenic? Or we say we are stupid, we never understood the system. This is part of the process of opening the space. We should not look for physicality. We should understand the condition and the situation and what is there. So, if you're listening to us, if you are a doctor, if you are a family with a schizophrenic, we respect you and welcome you. We teach you how to bring these brilliant people into the science, into the society, respected as people, not as sick people. The violence, the talking they do, it can be explained. It doesn't need medical. When we don't understand, we give things to control, then we think we control, but we actually do a lot of damage. If the parents are taught to understand, they have a twins but in the body and they can respect it, they can ask John, can you fix the electric cable in the house because he likes electricity, and Susan, can you make your food because you like to cook? They do a perfect job. You don't have you have a single body, but with a lot of talents which you never appreciated it. And this is why I brought this subject. This is one of the subjects I've researched very deeply over years and years. And I don't even see any reason to write a paper. With the ILS, I wrote a paper for it. With the schizophrenic, how can you write a paper about the twins? How can you write somebody that are twins and you dress them up the same way? Find out as a parent, as a doctors, what is the name. The first thing you do, you have to gain the trust that we don't laugh. There is no joke, we understand it's two of you. What's the name of the other one? When they introduce the other one, you gain the trust. You have access into the knowledge of God. Then they can tell you, because one sees the operation of the brain of the other one and what is going wrong. He tells you he's got temperature, he's got a headache, where he touched the body and there is no heat. He says, oh, he's asleep, he's tired. Where the body is awake and is working. Then you can understand while one is asleep, you can talk to them, they explain the position, what they see. Or both of them, you ask them who's speaking, you have to introduce yourself, whoever speaks that I know, I'm dealing with John or I'm dealing with Susan. With Susan, you speak about making skirts and knitting, and with John, you speak about football and rugby and the rest. And Susan sits and listens because he knows she'll get her turn. You won't get violence, you get respect, and this is how it's maybe done. From this workshop we can open another door into the world of science, that a schizophrenic is us, not them. Because we don't understand the process of the creation. We become too materialistic, we become too physical to have, and as I said, we saw it here in our own lab. They couldn't see energy, they couldn't see a motor running, it was disappointment. They were like a bunch of schizophrenic running around. One praying over it, the other one hoping for it, the other one trying to fiddle things. They were never understood that the process is going on. It's the same with the schizophrenic. We have to understand who they are, respect them, and bring the beauty of their work out. Then we see there'll be hospital without any schizophrenic. Because actually we should be in there and they should be outside.